Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. Today, we are going to be covering the number 3 ranked KvK for SoS2 / Winter is Upon Us. Now, we're going to be breaking you down. I pulled some data last night, I think at around 3 to 5 UTC going into the 4th of October. So this is about, I guess, 13, 14 hours past. And we ended up pulling, now let me get the disclaimers out of the way, but as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us up. So, number 1, the data that we're pulling is for 60 mil and above players, with the understanding that players that are at 60 mil and above, or at 60 mil compared to 50 mil, have just on average more T5 trained. And because of that, we're focusing on just T5 minimums for these data sets. Number 2 is that, as I said, data was pulled around 13 to 14 hours ago, so keep in mind things can change. Number 3 is that when we are comparing data, we're just going to be focusing on the punching power or the fighting power. So the numbers that you're going to see as it pertains to alliance power is based on the sum totals for the data set that we're pulling, right, for those players that are at 60 mil power and above. So again, not to be confused with total alliance power and or total kingdom power, this is different. And then number 4, that we'll be showing you as well, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here, is, no, I think we're actually okay. And yeah, I guess the last thing is that, again, if you guys want to take a look at any of the data stuff, I will be posting some of the sheets on my Discord. Link to that will be in the pinned comment description down below. Okay, so let's go ahead. We got a couple things to show you. So we're going to show you the sheet, we're going to show you the map overview, and then we're going to take a look and maybe just look around how things are going because Zone 2 had just opened. Also, need to make a correction, or I guess it is a correction, really more of an amendment, is that in the first KvK set, and I'll show this too as well, just because this is a great opportunity to do so, in the number 1, I ended up miscalculating the total for, I believe, the top group here. Someone was kind enough to let me know. I think we had put like 74, 75 billion power when it was actually 65 billion power. So I just wanted to say that this matchup for the number 1 KvK is a lot closer, and I think really good. Obviously not the best that it could be, but I do think that obviously with that amendment now, compared to what I said there, I just wanted to make that clarification. In the second KvK group that we showed off, I believe there was, now I'm trying to remember what it was here. Oh yes, and the second one for the map, based on the images I showed, I had forgot to explain and factor in the Zone 2 alliances that could be coming into Zone 3 prior to the Zone 3 adjacent pass, and then the matchup comparisons that we talked about. Again, just wanted to make those 2 amendments. So, as we get into KvK number 3, given that the fighting has started already, we will be showing and I'll be explaining some of those things. But for now, this is the data that we pulled yesterday. You can see here that there is just kind of separate teams. Now, I confirmed this with a couple leaders and or management personnel within this KvK. I even reached out yesterday or 2 days ago just to reconfirm that the matchups were still the way they are at the moment. As always, keep in mind, things can change, and this may not be what it ends up being as we progress in future zones. But this is what has been told to me by multiple people that are in this KvK. So we have essentially 219 and 213 that are kind of solo. We have one group which is comprised of 218, 286, and 287. That's AMZ, WG Fam, SJT, and OPP. OPP, hey, you know me? No, okay, that's maybe just me. 222 for the other group, 229 and 240. This is HOU, IMB, SSG, Cent, and VKNG. And then we had the RFF group, or 283, saying we're just going to go solo, basically pulling an Echo, or basically Echo pulled an RFF. And this is where we're at. Now, here's how the matchups look for everything across the board. You can see here that, again, the 2 biggest groups at the moment are the AMZ and the HOU group, right? They come in here, if we look at the totals, at 295 T5s to 301, very close, 25.047 billion. Keep in mind, this is rounded to the nearest millionth, again, as indicated here, for fighting power for the players that are at 60 mil and above. Then we get, right, so it's 25.047 to 26.906. So you're looking at 1.9 about billion power differential. It's not that bad. There's a +6 differential on total power. That's in favor of the HOU group. And then you have 65 compared to 52 100 mil plus players, so plus 13. So a little bit advantage going in favor of the HOU group. If we look at the two smaller groups, we have MM and SHP. They got 122 T5s, 10.365 billion power, 21 100 mil plus players. And then the solo group, RFF HXV, for 283, they're at 79 total T5s, again at 60 mil above, 6.168 billion power, and they have 8 100 mil plus players. So, I mean, if you remove the two small groups, right, now, yeah, could you have added? So I think one thing you maybe could have done here is maybe added like the RFS HXV to HOU and then maybe MM and SHP to AMZ. I mean, that would give you 73 compared to 73 100 mil pluses. It would actually be dead even. But you'd end up seeing a little bit of a T5 advantage going on the other side, maybe plus 38 going to AMZ, along with seeing about a plus 3, maybe 2.8 billion power. So it would still be like decently close, even if you added the groups there. Now, maybe you could have done some other adjustments, depending on what the options would have been. Of course, you kind of have to go off of kingdoms that are paired in certain staging or starting zone ones as well. That will be a huge factor. So let's take a look at the map now. So here's the map. Let me skadoosh myself, if I will. Let's just go. I guess this is fine. So this is how the map looks at the moment, right? This is where we have for starting positions and powers, and then the number of total number of 100 mil plus players that we have. So with this, we have actually, hang on, let me double check. It's 56, right? Let me just make sure. 56. Okay, good. I just had to make sure I'm not quite right here. So it's color coordinated based on who they're paired with. So you can see here you have one group, which is the HOU group, they're top left. You have the orange group, which is the second big group for AMZ. They're kind of bottom right, but split between two separate zone ones, not adjacent or connected or paired. And then you have RFF solo, and then you have 219 and 233 solo bottom left. So if this plays out, you could look at this and say to yourself, okay, well, based on how this looks, we would most likely, if we're just looking number to number, IMB and SSG probably are going to clearly take this zone 2. Maybe MM will put up a slight bit of a fight. We'll see. And we can go and take a look and see how the zone 2s are progressing now as well. If we look at the top group, this is actually, I think, maybe a little bit more even between 222 and 240. And 283, again, if we're just looking at the 60 mil plus threshold. Will they fight? I mean, again, I think they probably will. I mean, I would anticipate that because it's not overly bad. If we look at the southeastern zone 2, between 218, 286, and 287, I think this is a little bit more clearly in favor of AMZ and AMZ2 over WGG and SJTOPP. Now, what I will say is, is there a chance they'd probably still fight? I mean, they could. It's not like it's that awful, but it is, I would say, a clear advantage, at least when you're looking at the 60 mil plus threshold, in favor of 218 versus 286 and 287. Okay, so let's go and see how things are playing out here now, if we will, between the groups, right? So let's go and see, if we go in-game, let's take a look and see how some maybe fighting is playing out. So, in the top group, we have, let's see here. If we look at zone 2, we could see, okay, so it actually looks like they are fighting, right? Which is what the anticipation was there between the two sets of 283 to 222, right? So we have the RFF, HXV on the east side. On the west side, it's HOU, CNT, VKNG. So it looks like they're fighting it out. It doesn't look like it's any clearer. However, scent removing kind of looks like RFF and HXV are probably on a little bit more of the attack here based on some territory that has been lost, at least from their side. If we go and we look at the next zone 2, which is here, we have, this should be AMZ or AMZ2, but it doesn't look like, and again, they're I should have stated this too as well, right? Are they going to fight? Probably not. Why? Because they're paired. should have said that. This is what happens when you get so excited you're doing it. And you're like, hey, God, I just got done explaining that they're the same side, but yet I talked about if they were going to fight or not. Which again, basically leaves us with just 2 zones, right, that we could be seeing some action on. And this is the MMSHP and IMB-SSG. Are we going to see anything here? Yeah, probably not, right? So it's pretty clear, like we said, right, which is IMB, SSG, they just ended up pushing, which means the only real action that we're going to end up seeing, and we can take a look and just kind of see how things are going right now. But let's see here. Simple mode's on. Always nice when that happens. And then we got RFF, so they're pushing there. It looks like they're up here too as well, doing a little bit. So I'm imagining that they're trying to probably get, okay, yeah, so they're probably going to try and get that flag. Where is, so, oh, wow, so they actually went across here. They have that. So are they going to be trying to get some towers? We're not hitting any towers yet. Okay, Bastion's there. Okay, coming in with a rally. And then if we go to the north side, we could take a look here and see how this is going. Okay, so HXV just, again, doing work right now. Building, removing. They got a Bastion going up. Looks like we're removing this tower too as well. I wonder, are they going to care about those? Okay, so basically it looks like they're pushing right now. Not a lot of resistance going on from Cent, unless maybe they're going to try and reposition at the next choke there at the level 2 Spire. HOU still putting up a fight right now against RFF, and that looks like how it's playing out. So, based on all of this, right, this kind of, it's interesting when you look at the matchups, because this probably feels like it's going to come down, because based on map positioning, right, and let's show that off one more time if we can, for how everything looks on the map when it pertains to future for Zone 3s. So if we're looking at this, we have RFF. If they continue, 283 will probably take the Zone 2. If they do, they are going to have to fight. I mean, respectfully, it feels like that might just be it for them, right? Like they're going to get this PvP, but then are they going to go in here when the level 3 passes, if that's right? I have to remember what the pass number is again. Let me see. It's level 5 pass, excuse me. So when the level 5 pass is open, right, will they opt to go here into this Zone 3 and then fight against these? Again, doesn't seem like that's a winning formula. Will they opt over here and go to this group? Okay, well, that doesn't feel like it's a winning formula, especially if they fight against 283, which means that, again, Zone 2 might be their only PvP enjoyment, depending on how things pan out. Similarly, when you think about 219 and 233, will they ally with someone? Will 283 decide to ally with someone? Are they just going to like say, "Hey, we're not doing anything," maybe just so they can get a little bit of Zone 2 fighting, but then eventually it'll transition and they'll be like, "Hey, can we actually team up so we can advance and make it further?" That could happen. And then with 219, obviously with them not really getting any action, keep in mind, if they go in here, they're going to have to either deal with, because AMZ will be able to go down here and they can eventually transition to assist 286 over here in this Zone 3, especially if IMB and SSG decide to go in Zone 3 from the Zone 2, right? Will 219 and 233 just chill? Will they work with 229? Will they go and ally with 286 and 218? I mean, again, you have a couple different storylines and playouts for scenarios that can happen here. But ultimately, it feels like we're probably going to have a good chance of getting the 2 big groups versus the 2 other big groups, because even if you end up having... Because the thing is that 219 could attack 286 and 287, maybe win that, but then eventually they'll get the assistance from 218 if so, but that could... And again, it's just... You could still get the big fights, which I think is going to be the 229, 222 versus 218 and 286 and 287. I still think there's that opportunity just based on the starting positions, because they don't necessarily have to overcommit to one another. They can play out the Zone 3s and then just fight once the adjacent zones open, or the adjacent passes for the level 6 passes, which again, as I've consistently said, I really wish that the way the passes opened is that you would have the level 1, right? So like if we go back in game to show you what I mean by this, and I guess I have to adjust it a bit now that I'm remembering about the level 5, because I don't think I've stated that before, but you have your level 1 pass, which opens your adjacent Zone 2s. Totally fine with that, because I think that used to be pass 2, and then pass 1 was the runic statue. So if like they're giving you the Zone 2 fight a little bit earlier now, totally okay with that. Pass 2 opens up runic. Pass 3 from the Zone 1 goes into Zone 3. Fine with that. Pass 4 opens up the Runic. Now, I believe that this should probably be pass... I mean, I guess you could say 7, if we're being technical, for the Zone 2. But if you want to leave it as 5, that's fine. I would just open up this second to last, right? So pass 4 opens, then the next pass that should open should be the one that takes you to the final zone. So in this case, the order should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and then 6, and then 5, and then you can open up the 3s, right? If that's right. Where's the... No, sorry, not the 3s. Where's the thingy? Where's the Runics? Here we go, yeah. Why am I saying thingy? So then you're opening up the pass 3s, right, to the Zone 1s. So it should go like 1, 2, 3, 4, right, which gets you to here. 7 for the final zone. Then you open up 6 for the adjacent Zone 3s. Then you open up you open up the reverse 5, and then you do the reverse 3 to get into the Zone 1. That is how they should be opening up passes. The fact that that is not happening now, I don't know, man. Like, that's the thing is, if they did it that way, it would allow for as many players possible and as many possible alliances and kingdoms to make it to the final zone, so we can get the crescendo big final boss battle, but with as many players involved, which is the whole point. And then you could start reopening up the previous or the other passes to get in there. But and again, I'll keep saying it. The part that I feel and I will always be consistently worried about is the fact that KvKs, given the way things are right now, can end in Zone 3. Like, you can completely decimate and finish off. Potentially even in zone, and maybe even in opening Zone 3, not even in the adjacent past Zone 3. You could maybe see KvKs done from past 5, going from Zone 2 into Zone 3s, depending. But really, the true death of a KvK could end when the past 6 is open to get into the adjacent Zone 3s, not coming from Zone 2, but from one Zone 3 to another. And so you may never even see any action in the final zone. That is a possibility. We saw a number of KvKs happen. That happened last season. So, yeah, man, that's my worry. But that's what we got here for KvK number 3. Would love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below. That's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.